How to make a woman fall for you. From friend zone to partner. Men, listen carefully. You're here because you found yourself in the dreaded friend zone. You care about her. You respect her. You see something in her that could be real, that could be lasting. But instead of being the man she desires, you're the one she vents to about other men. You're the guy she trusts, but not the guy she feels that pull of attraction for. And deep down, you know that's not the role you want to play. This channel, Alpha Mindset, exists for men like you. Men who are tired of sitting quietly, tired of ignoring their own worth, tired of waiting for life to hand them something they have to go out and claim. Because let me make this clear from the start, no woman will fall for you simply because you're available. She will only fall for you when you embody strength, when you live with self-respect, and when you stand as a man with vision and conviction. That's the truth most men don't want to hear. But I'm not here to sugarcoat reality. I'm here to give it to you raw. So before we dive in, I need you to do two things. First, hit that subscribe button to Alpha Mindset. Because what I'm going to give you here isn't feel-good nonsense or shallow dating tips. This is about transforming the way you see yourself as a man so that every relationship you enter into flows naturally from your strength, not from weakness. Second, open your mind. Let go of the old patterns, the excuses, the stories you've told yourself about why women don't choose you. From this moment forward, we move with clarity, discipline, and power. Understand this. Women are naturally drawn to strength. Not just physical strength, but the strength of presence, the strength of mind, the strength of purpose. This has been true across every culture, every era, every empire. And the men who failed to realize it, who lived their lives trying to please instead of lead, were forgotten. Look at history. Rome didn't expand into the most dominant empire in the world because its men sat quietly, waiting for permission. It grew because its men carried themselves with ambition, confidence, and the willingness to command respect. And when Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, spoke about ruling himself before he ruled others, he revealed a principle that applies directly to your situation right now. If you cannot govern your own desires, your own actions, your own self-respect, you will never inspire a woman to follow you from friendship into romance. This series is not about tricks. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about sharpening yourself into the kind of man who naturally commands attraction. Because here's the truth. The friend zone exists because you've accepted a position of weakness. You've been too accommodating, too available, too unwilling to risk her rejection by showing your intention. And when a woman senses weakness, she places you where weak men belong, in the background. But I want you to remember something. Being in the friend zone is not the end. It's a test. It's a mirror. It's life showing you the distance between who you are now and who you need to become. And that's why this series matters. We're going to go step by step, part by part, building you into a man who doesn't beg for affection, but earns desire through his very presence. By the time we're done, you'll understand how to shift the dynamic, how to move from the passive role of a friend into the active role of a man she respects, desires, and chooses. But it won't happen by accident. It will happen because you decide to embody the principles that powerful men, from the Stoics to modern leaders, lived by. So stay with me, subscribe now to Alpha Mindset, and prepare to let go of every weak habit that has held you back. Because from this moment forward, we're not just talking about getting the girl. We're talking about becoming the man you were meant to be. 1. From weakness to strength. Why the friend zone exists. Men, let's be honest about the friend zone. Most guys end up there not because women are cruel, not because life is unfair, but because they walked themselves into it. They acted without intention, without strength, without clarity. They thought being nice, available, and endlessly supportive would win her over. But niceness without strength is weakness, and weakness never attracts desire. A woman doesn't reject you when she places you in the friend zone. She classifies you. She's simply responding to the energy you give off. If your energy says, I will do anything for you, I have no standards, I want you to validate me, then she places you in the category of a friend. Not because she's mean, but because biology and psychology work that way. A woman doesn't want a man she can walk all over. She wants a man who stands tall on his own. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The friend zone is what happens when you talk like a good man, act like a supportive man, but fail to live as a man who embodies strength, leadership, and purpose. You've been so focused on her that you've neglected yourself, and she feels that. She senses the imbalance. She sees that your life orbits around her, and instinctively she pulls away. Why? Because no woman wants to be the sun in your universe. She wants to be drawn into your orbit because your mission, your vision, your discipline is magnetic. Let me give you a clear picture. Think about Epictetus, a man born a slave. His early life was defined by chains and servitude, the lowest possible position a man could endure. But what made him rise wasn't rebellion or whining. It was his decision to master himself. His words carried such weight, his philosophy such depth, that even Roman nobles came to sit at his feet for wisdom. That's the essence of moving from weakness to strength. Even when stripped of external freedom, he created inner freedom, and through that earned respect and influence. Now apply that to your life. Right now, in the friend zone, you've chained yourself by acting in weakness. You've accepted the role of a servant, always available, always accommodating. But like Epictetus, you can choose to reclaim your strength. You can shift how you carry yourself, how you value your time, how you speak, how you set boundaries. The transformation begins not when she notices you, but when you notice yourself. This is where most men fail. They think the solution is to confess feelings, to pour their heart out, to tell her they've loved her all along. That's not strength, it's desperation. Confession without transformation changes nothing. If she already saw you as a friend, your words will not suddenly ignite passion. Desire doesn't grow out of pity. It grows out of respect, and respect begins when you respect yourself. The first step out of the friend zone is simple, but not easy. Stop being her emotional crutch and start being a man of his own mission. That means you don't drop everything when she calls. You don't listen to her talk about other men while secretly resenting it. You don't orbit her life, hoping she'll one day notice you. Instead, you build your world so strong, so undeniable, that she begins to notice on her own. Seneca said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Right now, you're drifting. You've been sailing without direction, waiting for her to guide your course. That ends here. From this moment, you decide the destination. You build yourself, physically, mentally, financially, socially. Not for her, but for yourself. Because once you stand as a man of direction, the dynamic shifts. She doesn't see you as the friend she can lean on, but as the man she must respect and eventually desire. Remember this. The friend zone isn't a death sentence. It's a mirror showing you where you lack strength. Break that weakness, and you'll not only escape the friend zone, you'll never fall into it again. 2. Attraction is earned. Through presence, not pleading men. If you take one truth from this part, let it be this. Attraction is never negotiated. You cannot talk, beg, or reason your way into a woman's desire. Desire is either sparked or it isn't. And if it isn't, it's because you've been showing up as the wrong version of yourself. To shift from just a friend to the man she wants, you must master your presence. Presence isn't about words. It's not about fancy lines or confessing how long you've loved her. Presence is the weight you carry when you walk into a room. It's the energy you give off without saying a word. It's the discipline in your body, the confidence in your voice, the calm authority in your eyes. A man with presence doesn't need to explain who he is. His life already says it for him. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He wasn't just emperor of Rome. He was a philosopher, a soldier, a man who carried the burden of ruling the largest empire on earth while still disciplining his mind to stay calm, rational, and unshaken. Imagine the presence of a man like that. He didn't need to chase respect, because respect naturally followed him. That's what women feel in the presence of a strong man. They don't decide to be attracted. They're drawn in instinctively. Now contrast that with what most men do in the friend zone. They overcompensate. They're too talkative, too eager to prove their worth, too ready to please. They think if they just say the right thing, if they just show her how much they care, she'll finally realize he's the one. But what they don't understand is this. The more you plead for attention, the more you confirm her suspicion that you lack the inner strength she craves. You're asking for her validation, and that destroys attraction. Epictetus taught that man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties. And this is exactly what weak men do around women. They overthink. They fear silence. They worry she'll get bored. They anxiously wonder if she'll ever see them differently. All of that anxiety leaks into their behavior, and a woman picks it up instantly. She doesn't see strength. She sees desperation masked as kindness. So how do you shift? First, you stop trying to prove yourself. Presence isn't about adding more. It's about stripping away weakness. Instead of nervous chatter, you allow silence. Instead of seeking approval, you hold your ground. Instead of leaning in, you lean back and observe. You become the man who doesn't need her attention, and because of that, she begins to wonder why. That curiosity is the seed of attraction. Seneca once wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." That's the key to presence. Self-control. You don't lose yourself when she's around. You don't bend to her mood. You don't let her beauty, her attention, or even her rejection shake your foundation. When she sees that you're unshaken, she begins to feel something new, respect. And respect is the soil in which desire grows. Here's the test. Imagine sitting with her in complete silence. Could you handle it? Could you sit there calm, relaxed, without rushing to fill the air with nervous words? Most men can't. They crack under the weight of silence because they're terrified of losing her interest. But the man who commands silence commands her attention without effort. That is presence. You don't earn attraction by proving your loyalty or by being endlessly available. You earn it by being the kind of man who could walk away at any moment because you know your value doesn't depend on her. That paradox, when you don't need her, is when she starts to feel she needs you. So men, remember this. From friend zone to partner, the first shift isn't in her, it's in you. Stop pleading, stop over-explaining, stop proving. Build presence, master silence, and let your strength speak louder than your words. Attraction isn't begged for. It's earned through the man you become. 3. Boundaries. The line between respect and servitude, men, listen carefully. If you've ever wondered why she doesn't see you as a partner, it's often because you've blurred the line between respect and servitude. You think being endlessly available, saying yes to every request, and sacrificing your own priorities shows loyalty. But to her, it doesn't look like loyalty, it looks like weakness. Here's the hard truth. Women don't fall for men who bend to every whim. They fall for men who set boundaries. Why? Because boundaries are proof of self-respect. They show that you value your time, your energy, your purpose. A man without boundaries communicates that he doesn't value himself. And if you don't value yourself, how can she ever value you? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you let her use you as an emotional dumping ground, when you cancel your plans just to be available, when you answer every late-night call because she needs you, you're not exercising power over yourself. You're surrendering it. You're giving her control of your time, your energy, and your emotions. That's not strength. That's servitude. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a king who throws open the gates of his castle to anyone who knocks, day or night, without question. Do you think his people would respect him? Number. They'd exploit him. They'd use him. The kingdom would collapse. Why? Because without boundaries, even a king becomes a servant. The same principle applies to your life. Without boundaries, you become the nice guy friend, the one she trusts but never desires. Now, look at Epictetus, the Stoic who was born a slave. Despite being owned, he set boundaries where he could, within his own mind. He understood that even if others tried to command his body, they could never command his will. That inner boundary made him unbreakable, even under chains. That's the power of boundaries. They don't push people away, they create respect. So how does this apply to your situation? It means you stop letting her dictate the terms of your connection. If she calls to talk about another man she's dating, you don't sit there nodding and listening while your stomach burns with resentment. That's not respect, that's self-betrayal. You cut that conversation short. You tell her directly, "I don't want to be the guy you call to complain about other men." Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with calm authority. That statement alone forces her to see you differently. Not as a servant, but as a man with standards. Seneca said, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." And this is exactly what happens when you lack boundaries. You convince yourself you're unhappy because she doesn't see you as more than a friend, yet you actively reinforce that role by letting her use you however she pleases. You trap yourself in the cage you built. Here's the shift. The moment you start setting boundaries, you stop being the caged man and start being the man she must reckon with. She may resist at first. She may test you. But deep down, she will respect it. Why? Because strength is rare, and boundaries are the clearest sign of strength. Men, hear me well. Boundaries don't push the right woman away. They attract her. Because the woman who is worth your time doesn't want a servant. She wants a man who values himself, who leads his life with discipline, who commands respect by the way he protects his time and energy. When you set boundaries, you draw a line in the sand that separates the weak from the strong. And women always choose strength. So stop being her safety net. Stop being her servant. Stand as a man with boundaries and watch how quickly her perception of you begins to shift. Respect always precedes desire, and boundaries are the foundation of respect. 4. The power of masculine direction. Men. Women don't fall for men who drift. They fall for men who know where they're going. If you're stuck in the friend zone, it's often because you've been orbiting her life instead of charting your own course. She can feel that you're waiting for her to choose you instead of you choosing your own path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." What does that mean here? It means you've placed her opinion above your own mission. You're distressed because she doesn't see you as a partner, but that's only because you've made her the mission instead of pursuing a mission bigger than her. Women are drawn to men with direction. A man building something, pursuing mastery, and moving with clarity doesn't have to chase attraction. It comes to him. Look at Alexander the Great. He wasn't admired because he asked for validation. He was admired because he conquered, he moved with vision, and others, men and women alike, were pulled into his gravity. Contrast that with the friend zone, the man who waits, the man who asks, "What do you want to do?" every time, the man who hesitates to take the lead. That energy kills attraction. Women don't want to guide. They want to feel guided by a man strong enough to steer his own life. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's direction. Decide who you are, then move relentlessly in that direction. If she sees you rising, she'll either rise with you or step aside. And that choice alone shifts her view of you from safe friend to potential partner. So here's the truth. Stop waiting for her to pick you. Stop building your life around her approval. Build your direction. Build your vision. Build your path. The man with direction doesn't beg for love. He inspires it. 5. Confidence, the root of desire. Men, let's cut straight to it. Confidence is the dividing line between a friend and a partner. If you hesitate, doubt yourself, or walk on eggshells around her, she feels it instantly. Attraction dies the second you question your own value. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Most men in the friend zone waste years hiding feelings, waiting for signs, hoping she'll notice. That's not confidence. That's fear. And fear never inspires desire. Think about Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon. He didn't ask permission. He didn't beg Rome to accept him. He made a bold move, knowing it carried risk, knowing it could change everything. That's what confidence looks like. Action in the face of uncertainty. Women respect that energy. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means you stand firm in who you are without apology. It means you don't flinch in silence. You don't second-guess your words. You don't fear rejection. Because rejection doesn't define a confident man. He defines himself. Here's the key. If you want to shift from friend to partner, stop waiting for her to validate you. Speak with authority. Move with certainty. Own your space. A confident man doesn't ask, "Am I enough?" He shows he is. Confidence is the root of desire. Without it, you're safe but invisible. With it, you become undeniable. 6. Masculine polarity, why she can't feel desire. Without it, men, here's the truth. Friendship feels safe because it's neutral. Desire dies in neutrality. Attraction needs polarity, masculine and feminine energy pulling against each other. If you're stuck in the friend zone, it's because you've been meeting her feminine with more feminine. Softness, passivity, endless emotional support. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are timid, needy, or fearful of losing her, your actions will reflect that, and she will never feel the spark. Look at history. Antony and Cleopatra. Whatever you think of their downfall, the passion was undeniable. Antony carried masculine boldness, and Cleopatra, feminine fire. That polarity created desire. Without that tension, there's only companionship, never attraction. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery is the essence of masculinity. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead her. And if you can't lead her, she won't feel that magnetic pull. She'll only feel safe, like a friend. So how do you build polarity? By leaning into masculine traits: direction, decisiveness, strength, calm authority. You don't wait for her cues. You set the frame. You don't just listen passively. You challenge her, inspire her, pull her into your world. That contrast awakens desire. Understand this. Women don't want another girlfriend. They want a man who embodies the opposite energy. Strong, grounded, unshakable. Restore that polarity, and friendship transforms into attraction. 7. Taking the risk from friend to partner. Men, everything we've covered strength, presence, boundaries, direction, confidence, polarity leads to this taking the risk. You cannot stay in the friend zone forever. At some point, you must act. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Most men linger in friendship out of fear of rejection, fear of losing her. But that hesitation is exactly why she doesn't feel desire. History proves it. Great men never waited for perfect conditions. Caesar, Alexander, Marcus, they acted, and in action, they defined their destiny. So you must make your intention clear. Not with desperate confessions, but with masculine clarity. You shift the dynamic. You stop being the safe friend and position yourself as a man who desires her without apology. If she rejects it, fine. You walk away with your self-respect. If she responds, attraction can finally grow. This is the final truth. Risk is the bridge between friendship and partnership. Without risk, you stay trapped. With risk, you claim the possibility of more. Be the man who dares. Conclusion. From friend zone to partner. The final word. Men, we've walked through the journey. You now understand why the friend zone exists, because you've been showing up in weakness, without direction, without polarity. You've learned that attraction isn't built through pleading or waiting, but through presence, boundaries, confidence, and risk. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." Be one, that's the core message of this series. Stop theorizing, stop hoping, stop waiting for her to see you differently. Become the man who commands respect and desire. The man with vision, strength, and self-respect. When you live this way, you don't have to beg for attraction. It comes naturally. The friend zone is not the end unless you accept it as your cage. It's a mirror showing you what you lack, and a challenge demanding you rise. If you take the lessons of the Stoics, if you step into your masculine power, you'll either elevate the connection with her or realize she was never meant for you. And either way, you win. So here's my final word. Risk it. Take the chance. Let her see the man you've become. If she chooses you, you step into partnership. If she doesn't, you walk away with your dignity intact. That's strength. That's masculinity. That's the alpha mindset. If you found value in this series, subscribe to Alpha Mindset. Because this isn't about chasing women. It's about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, everything else in life, including love, begins to align. Be strong. Be decisive. Be the man you were meant to be.